Hi, I'm Mike, and today we're working on a 2001 Chevy Cavalier with 2.2 engine. And the problem that we're having with this car today is oil is leaking from the valve cover gasket. If you take a look here, it's leaking all around. And what we're going to be doing today is changing that valve cover gasket. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, the first thing that we need to do is remove some of this accessories and stuff off this area here so we can get to the fasteners on this and remove this. We're going to start by disconnecting the sensor here. Just unplugs like that. Put it out of the way. Disconnect this throttle linkage cables just like that. And take this out here. Like that. Okay. Alright, the next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove this snorkel here and remove this air box. So I'm going to start by removing this clamp here. Position it out of the way. Then if you look down here, it's going to be hard to see, but there's another hose clamp attached to this down there. You want to loosen that up. Like that. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove these three 13mm bolts and nuts here. And then back here there's three 10mm nuts that you need to loosen in order to get this fuel rail cover off. There's studs in the back here that support this, and it's held on with nuts. You don't have to totally take the nuts off. You just gotta back them off, loosen them a little bit, and it has these cutouts here. You can just pull it right out. So it's helpful when you're reinstalling. It just sits on the studs back there. All right, now we're gonna remove these fasteners that are holding this valve cover onto the engine. There's about 8 10mm bolts around the parameter. Just go ahead and start removing those. Broke the seal. So I'm thinking this thing will just lift off with no problem. See if we're lucky. Sometimes you have to finagle these out. No. problem. Alright. What you want to do is you want to compare the old gasket to the new gasket. Make sure it looks similar. And this one does. So we're in good shape as far as that's concerned. And then there's a lot of residue built up over here where the two parts mate together. So I'm going to try to clean that with like a scraper. Being careful not to scratch the aluminum. So I'm just lightly applying pressure to it. And I want to do this around the entire perimeter. And I'm trying to prevent the stuff from falling into the engine, so I'm kind of scraping it and pushing out at the same time. So you want to continue doing that all around. This would be a really good time to have a parts cleaner. Unfortunately, I don't. So the way I'm going to clean this is, I'm going to use the parts cleaner for the brakes parts cleaner. And I'm going to use this nylon bristle brush. It's a real soft brush, so it's not going to do any damage to the aluminum here. So just spray it on here a little bit. You can use that for a little catch basin. And then just go like this in the grooves. I don't think this is going to make it look nice and clean and pretty and brand new, but it will get some of this gunk out of here, which is good enough. Seems like it's working fairly well. Just want to clean this channel around this outermost portion of this cover. Alright, the next step that you're going to want to do after you get these parts cleaned out is when you're installing this new gasket, you want to seat it into this ridge here, and it has these little, I don't know, I guess ridges here also on this gasket. Those gets pressed down into, and that's what actually holds it to this cover. So you just want to line it up, just press it in there like so. Just like that. Alright, now that I got this gasket seated in this cover, I'm going to place it on top of this engine here. Trying to be gentle so the gasket doesn't fall out. Just like that. Alright, it looks like it's in position, so I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts in. Alright, once you run those bolts down, you can use a torque wrench to torque them down to spec nice and evenly, or you can just use a ratchet and use a little finesse and just get it to where they're just snug, not too tight, because you don't want to crush that rubber gasket. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down with a torque wrench. I'll make a couple of passes until I build up a little tension. Alright, I like to do this in 3 steps. Keep building up the pressure a little bit. When you tighten these manifold gaskets and stuff, and air intake gaskets, you want to go in a crisscross pattern, working from the center out. The reason why is because if you start on the ends and you go to the middle, it's going to actually buckle on you, and it'd be hard to get this portion here to seal. So that's the reasoning behind that. Okay, once you get those buttons tightened down, it's time to put everything back together. It shouldn't be too complicated. It goes back together just how it came out, but in reverse. So once you get that done, you're good to go. Start the engine, make sure that there's no leaks, and that's it, job well done.